Oklahoma. Um, have a little downtime to kind of get a project started for some guys that are gonna really do some work for me. I'm all crippled up. There's not a whole lot I can really do, but I was listening to folks' channels and listening to different podcasts. And, there's DMs that I had. Usually, just kind of like when it comes to politics, how folks have certain positions, like in their speaking. They want to make sure folks know that they're not speaking politically, or some folks will, judge that it shouldn't be political, or a person shouldn't be, politicizing something, or, I don't know, just oftentimes this comes, most of the stuff that I look at is religious related. So I'm trying to see how to frame this up. I don't want to. I know there's no easy way, I guess you could say, when it comes to speaking politics and religion. What you're going to find in the Bible is there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of politics in the Bible. When I'm just sitting around watching stuff, sometimes just trying to just scramble my brain so I can get off of whatever topic I've had on my brain all day. I like to watch, little dance videos, or people doing the latest trend dance, or just stuff like that usually just kind of takes my mind to an easier place, right? But when I'm watching stuff, usually for informational purposes, doing research and stuff like that, it usually has something to do with Christianity, other world religions, and also insofar as homelessness and addiction and abuse and prison related things like that. That's usually sort of the lane that I stay in, because I'm usually trying to do something for those. And when people say something about politics not being too political, or not being political at all, or it's really challenging for a person, like whatever your moral compass looks like, right? That's what's going to determine how you feel about something insofar as policies are concerned. I don't know how much easier I can explain that without explaining it away. Policies and procedures anywhere are developed based on Wyatt Wilson, Jello. So I know we timed out for a sec, so I'll back up just a little bit. But again, when we're looking at policies and procedures, a person's or a people group's moral compass is what's going to set the stage for politics. And so when a person says, you know, something to the effect that you shouldn't be political, or I'm not trying to be political, or I don't want to politicize, or, you know, when you guys politicize, you know, typically whenever someone feels like there's something religious related to whatever is being discussed, whether it's by themselves or someone else, oftentimes there's some overlap insofar as religion is concerned, because what we're dealing with when it comes to policies and procedures is a person's moral compass. And so that moral compass setting the stage for whatever is enacted, rules, regulations, laws, you know, those sort of things. So it's really hard to not see a reflection one between the two. So, you know, when Christians oftentimes, you know, give in to this idea that they, you know, want to say something religious without it sounding political. I mean, whatever you're saying religiously, it's pretty much going to set the framework for what people are.
In about 10 miles, take exit 80 onto US 81 toward Duncan.
It's pretty much going to set in a person's thinking what they think that you believe politically. So when you're speaking religious, you're speaking, you know, to the moral compass that you have standardized in your life, that has been standardized in your life. And so people can already kind of see, even a person who doesn't want to, you know, express anything religiously, they may not feel like, you know, some people say all religions, you know, lead you to God. All, you know, religions are the same. They believe this, they believe that, yada, yada, yada. So even a person with that thinking, right, whatever their moral compass is, right, it'll set the stage for what it is that they believe should be a standard for living and community and etc. So there's this overlap, and speaking to Christians, I get when we want to kind of mention that we're speaking specifically to religion in a conversation, but just know that people are already going to, without us even having to say, I'm not trying to be political, but what I want to say is they're already going to get people will hear you and know what your political stance would be on said subject without even having heard a strictly political speech. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that because, you know, sometimes I make, and I don't believe it's a mistake, I don't believe it's an error, but sometimes I make that point, I stress the point, I don't want to sound too political here, right? Because I want a person to understand that I'm speaking specifically to, you know, the context that's at hand. But for the listener, I also want listeners to understand that even though I'm not setting up a religious campaign speech and framework for, you know, how I believe the nation should go in this direction, just know that whatever I'm about to say as pertains to the scriptures, if I'm speaking religiously, know that policies and procedures will come out of my moral compass, my moral standard, for which I base everything on my on the scriptures, to the best of my understanding. And does that make me political? Well, I believe that I am religious in the sense that I strive to follow Christ, and I strive to be someone that has a better walk than I did yesterday. Someone who recognizes sin, because sin and mistakes are two different things. Sin is anything that violates God's law, which that's what Paul tells the Galatians. That sin is a schoolmaster. But without the law, or the law is a schoolmaster. It tells us what sin is. Paul goes on to tell us that I wouldn't know what sin was unless I knew what the moral standard of God was, the law was. And so, when we're talking about law, we might as well say that we're talking about policies. And speaking to scriptures, or speaking with the scriptures, is expressing the policies of God, which is political. So in that sense, as far as religious is concerned, I do things religiously. Before I leave the bathroom, after I piss, I give my hands a good rinse and scrub, flick the water in the sink, wipe them off on a rag, and then I leave the bathroom. I do that religiously. I'm not checking the boxes off like someone who's trying to just do this good deed to please God, if you will.
In 2 miles, take exit 80 onto US 81 toward Duncan.
So that's just a small example. I just trying to say that if you're talking about the laws of God, then you are a politician. Not in the sense that a Pharisee was. Pharisees were bad politicians. And Jesus was out there correcting their politics and promoting the policies of God. So yeah, man, that's how that looks. I just wanted to share that. Someone else, who is tuning in with us also is, man, I'm just going to say Perry. What's up, Perry?
Use the right lane to take exit 80 onto US 81 toward Duncan.
If you guys aren't familiar with my channel, I'm the director for a sober living outfit that is up and out transitional living.
Take the exit, then take the first left onto South 4th Street.
Yeah, it's a sober living house.
At the light, use the left lane to turn onto South 4th Street toward Duncan.
Sorry guys, I'm being briefed about my guide here. Bear with me. Yeah, so my channel...
Turn left.
My channel is mainly geared towards peer recovery, folks that are in, you know, everyone going through some type of a rehab. You know, that could be adjusting to getting out of prison. That could be adjusting to coming out of traumatic relationships. You know, our house is specific to men that may have been addicted to drugs and homeless, or kicked out of their homes, you know, because alcoholism was, you know, taking too much.
For about 16 miles, continue straight.
Taking too much effect on the entire family, and anyways, we try to help basically just hit the reset, because it is a religious, you know, it's a religious program. It's a faith-based program. Guys have the understanding that we're going to church, and so we have, insofar as our peer recovery, it's not like the, you know, typical AA meeting, you know, where people go in there and they kind of check off all the boxes and recite stuff from the big book and, you know, all that kind of thing. We use the Bible in our meetings, and pick up guys from the house and take them to church on Sunday and other days if they want to go. So again, if you're not familiar with my channel, I do that, but I also just tune in every day and slam dunk on something else and kind of speak to whatever. Sometimes I get folks that'll DM me, have the same name and channel on the messenger. I don't really deal with a lot of I got help when it comes to the social media stuff. Some of this stuff, you know, people just kind of set it up and then I go, but I don't really keep up with all the way I look at, let's say, for example, when I see Facebook, Facebook is like, you know, we used to read newspapers back in the day, and we knew that 90% of what we were looking at was probably a bunch of rubbish, right? And there was probably 10% truth in there somewhere, right? And the entertaining part was trying to figure out through the 90% rubbish what was actually true. And, you know, everyone had their own positions whenever they read something. And, you know, we could have conversations about what we thought was really going on, you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, it's that's how Facebook is. But, you know, everybody is a reporter, and so that's what I do. I'm reporting to you folks that are, you know, following, that like, comment, subscribe, and share. I am reporting to you the things that are going on in the daily. I mean, you're looking at a guy that spent 22 years in the penitentiary for manslaughter and kidnapping. I didn't kidnap anybody. I have passed my polygraphs. I have, I mean, I don't know, that's a long story, but yeah, you know, after having spent 22 years in the penitentiary and working for Up and Out Transitional Living as a director, and being on probation, dealing with disability, so essentially the things that are going on in my life kind of, I discuss things that are, you know, kind of evolve around that, if you will, and I'm usually pretty good. I used to not be so good, but I'm usually pretty good about throwing videos up. So, and then I have to go through, and you guys know, if you have YouTube channels of your own, you've got to do all the stuff to, like, I could put it up as public, but then Facebook or YouTube might make it private. So I have to go in there and change that. I have to edit that. So, yeah, they make you work, which, you know, I mean, that's not a horrible thing, but, so I mentioned that just to say that if you have your bells and whistles on and, you're subscribed, then, oh, there we are. All right. So YouTube's having issues again. Yeah, I'll pick up on this later. Hope you guys are having a wonderfully blessed day. Have some more insights for you later. Comment if you want to throw a subject at me. Some of you guys know my DMs. If you got something specific you want me to hit you up on, I'll do my best to hit you up on that, and we can have a conversation. But yeah, man, as director of a ministry that, you know, helps people that are kind of dislocated from society and just need some help maintaining sobriety and helping them get on their feet so that they can live, you know, be a self-sustaining entity in this life. You know, it's an honor and a privilege to, you know, have been selected by God to work for some very busy men. But yeah, I'm not going to take up too much more of the time that I have already on this. It's been 21 minutes in, and I'm sure most of you guys are probably scrolling past me, but yeah, so that's all I got, man. Jim Biggs, peer recovery support specialist. This is the peer recovery support network. We have a summit coming up in April. If you're in the Oklahoma area, would love to see you at the summit, and you can get the details from me. I'll just send over the Google Calendar and map for you. And so yeah, that's all I got, man. I'm gonna keep you guys posted. Yeah, I love